Luis Rosado, aka Blue Boy, is the most feared and savage Crip out of New York State, and here's why. Blue Boy grew up in the Lower East Side of Manhattan. He was raised primarily by his mom since his dad was in and out of prison. His life of crime started early at the age of 9 when he got into a fight at school and pushed his teacher down the stairs. 3 years later, at 12 years old, started selling drugs, pulling robberies, and even getting into shootouts. At one point, Blue Boy actually met Mike Tyson inside a juvenile hall. Blue Boy speaks about how one time Mike even knocked out a counselor inside juvie after he hit him with an overhand right. So Blue Boy was already wilding out and making a name for himself in the streets. But the incident that would put him away for most of his life came after a guy in his neighborhood stepped on Blue Boy's shoes on purpose twice, and Blue Boy wasn't having it. So the two started fighting, but the guy pulled out a gun and told Blue Boy to start walking. As they were walking, he would slap Blue in the face and later would kick him in the ass, which allowed Blue to run into a crowd with the guy firing a few shots at him. Blue Boy got away, but he wasn't finished. Blue would come back to face the guy again, but this time with a 16-gauge shotgun, where he would shoot the guy at point-blank range twice, once in his face and once in his chest, killing him. This would lead to Blue to go on the run for a while, but have to come back to New York after his family of the guy he killed started threatening his family. So when he got back to New York, he got into another shooting where he would hit 4 people, 2 of them being the cousin of the man he killed. No one would die during the shooting, but not long after that, Blue Boy would get caught and charged with the murder, where he was sentenced to 25 to life in prison. But Blue Boy's life of crime wouldn't just stop then. After he was sentenced, he said, "In Rikers Island, you either got to be a predator or a prey, and I chose to be a predator." He would stab, cut, make shanks, even rob people. He even said he was involved in 4 riots, assault on staff, cut a cop in one prison, and stabbed a cop in another. So Blue Boy was looking like the most deadliest prisoner in New York already. But the killings wouldn't just stop right there. 6 years into his sentence, while he was in Alameda, Blue's friend was arguing with another inmate, which led Blue to jump in because the inmate was being disrespectful. One thing led to another, and the inmate told Blue, "Suck my dick." Blue couldn't let go of what he said to him, so him and his friend later that day stabbed the inmate to death, which ended up getting him 8 years added to his sentence. Later on down the road, after this, Blue Boy would officially join the Crips, the Rolling 30 set, at a majority blood prison, because he said he never liked the bullies. Bloods would be scared to fight Blue because he had already had a bad reputation for stabbing people. But the most well-known killing that he did is when he killed Larry Davis. Larry Davis was a drug dealer from the Bronx that got into a shootout with the police and beat the case. This would lead everyone in New York loving Larry Davis, and even some calling him a hero, because in those days the police were brutal. They would beat and even kill people in the streets for no reason. So when word got out that Larry shot at the police, it made him respected by a lot of people. Even though he beat the case, he would still be sentenced to 5 to 15 years for possession of a firearm, and later on will be convicted and found guilty of a murder that would gain him 25 to life. While in prison, he would meet Blue, and the two would start to have issues early on. But Blue Boy didn't do nothing at first because a friend of his that he owed a favor to asked him not to. But this wouldn't last for long, because when Blue had went to the yard to stab a guy who raped a 9-year-old kid, Larry Davis got in the middle of it and told Blue, "It's not going down like that." And Blue told him, "What you mean it's not going down like that?" and stabbed Larry. After Larry fell on the ground, Blue would go on to chase 2 other people who he intended to stab in the first place, but got tired after chasing them and told him, "Hey, stop right there." And the guy didn't want to stop and told Blue, "Yo, why are you trying to stab me?" But then right after that, Larry Davis came out of nowhere and hit Blue twice in the head with a cane. Blue Boy turned around, rushed at Larry Davis, and started stabbing him. Larry fell, and Blue tried to get on top of him. Larry wouldn't let him, and soon after that, cops grabbed Blue Boy, and as they were trying to grab him, Larry Davis kicked Blue in the face. This would let Blue Boy grab his leg and stab him twice, hitting an artery in the back of the leg, which would lead later to be the cause of his death. There was a lot of rumors that the police paid Blue Boy 15 grand to kill Larry Davis, but those rumors weren't true. So with all the trouble he had caused, and now with 3 bodies under his belt, it looked like Blue Boy was going to spend the rest of his life in prison. But surprisingly, Blue Boy was granted parole and will be released from prison in December 2021. Now that Blue is free, he's done a few interviews sharing his story, and even goes to schools and detention centers to teach the youth and lead them in the right direction so they don't go down the same path that he went down. While being out of prison, he has met up with Mike Tyson and Bobby Shmurda, and continues to do what he can in the world to try to make it a better place. I think it's safe to say Blue doesn't want to go back to prison, and we should be happy that we got people like him to get the youth wisdom that he got to make a change. He doesn't speak about the gang life to glorify it, but to let kids be aware of the consequences. But with that being said, this is the story of Blue Boy. Like and subscribe, and share with a friend.